Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And with that, we'll move to the first item this evening, item number 3, which is the independent audit report. I'd like to introduce Jill Sanders from Cullen and Danowski, who will present the findings from the 2024-2025 school year.
Thank you very much. Good evening to the Board of Education, Administration, and the community. My name is Jill Sanders. I'm a partner with the firm of Cullen and Danowski, and I'm here to present the audit results for the year ending June 30th, 2025. And we're auditing the financial statements of all of the funds of the school district, and as a result, you were presented with 4 documents. One is the general purpose financial statement. One is a revisit of the management letter from the prior year. The other is a communication to the Board of Governance, and then the 4th is an extra classroom activity fund report on the cash basis. So just some overall comments. I wanted to really thank Mr. O'Keefe and the business office for the job that they did during this past year. The records were in very good shape. Anything that we asked during the course of the audit, we were provided with that information immediately, and we asked a number of different questions. We're looking at the internal control structure from a financial reporting standpoint, and the district has a very good, strong internal control structure in place. That's checks and balances over the financial transactions, so that's a good thing. We have no communications with respect to material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. There are 2 items we noted in last year's management letter. The district put a corrective action plan in, okay, and there were procedures that were implemented. They were in the extra classroom activity fund area or in the computer permission area, and so those have been remediated, as you saw when you read the management letter. There are no new comments, which are suggestions for improvements in the internal control structure, because it is a good internal control structure. The district is in good financial condition. You know that you can have no more than 4% of next year's budget in your unassigned fund balance, and that is where you are. That's the rule as far as real property tax law. You do have some reserves. Part of my job as the auditor is to make sure when we audit that they're in compliance with general municipal law, and then the capital reserve is in compliance with education law. And so all of those reserves are in compliance, and we're aware that you use those reserves to the extent that you have spending in place or to support the budget with the expenditures that you have as far as appropriations for the year. With respect to changes in the financial statement, we've rendered an unmodified opinion, okay, highest level of assurance that you get that the financial statements fairly present in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in the United States of America. So it's known as a clean opinion, okay, and you can go through the various funds that we've audited. We talked about cash receipts in the extra classroom activity fund, but as I've talked to the Board of Education, because I appreciate the time that we spent on Monday evening, almost an hour, going through the various documents in detail. As we spoke, there are good controls. We look at what the extra classroom activity treasurer does, faculty advisors, student treasurers, subsidiary records to support the transactions, and those are all good. Okay? The reason why we have a comment in the financial statement is because we're not there at the time fundraising takes place to see the cash receipts that are collected. So I wanted to be really clear about that. Okay? Implementation this year as far as new standards, GASB 101, and it's something that has to do with reporting. It has nothing to do with the way that the budget is crafted or the way the tracking takes place for expenditures against the budget. It's with respect to the accrual basis financial statement, it has to do with compensated absences and how we report what we are going to pay to employees when they separate and the time that they use while they still work for the district. And so you'll see that there's comments in the financial statement with respect to GASB 101. And all local governments were required to implement this standard, and so you implemented it timely, and it's fairly transparent in the financial statement as to how that's approached. That's the only new standard or principle that was adopted during the year. The extra classroom activity fund report, just as a reminder, it's a separate report. It's cash basis. It's because the state education department wants your external auditor to render an opinion on those activities and clubs for the students. And so it's every club and activity, and as I mentioned earlier, it ties back to both the central treasurer's records and the individual records of each of the clubs and activities. The communication to the board is a communication that would detail any difficulties that we had when we conducted the audit. There were none. Any deviations from the accounting standards or principles, and there were none. Okay. With respect to any adjusting journal entries that we propose, there were 2 very small adjusting journal entries. We showed them to you, and that's important because the accounting function then is in place throughout the course of the year, and that the information that the Board of Education is getting is accurate. So I think it's a good report. I think it's a good report as far as the control structure and as far as the financial condition, especially in terms of mandated costs, rising health insurance costs, rising pension costs. You've positioned yourself you've positioned yourself so that you will be able to deal with those things prospectively. Any questions from the Board of Education?
All I'll say is thank you very much. I know we've met a few times during the year already, and thank you for making yourself available. I'd also like to thank John and Brian for all their work. Obviously, you all get along well. It's very clear, it's very productive, very efficient with your work, and you're very technically proficient. So it's makes our lives much easier. So thank you, and thank John and thank Brian very much for just the great teamwork. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add a thank you to the staff, faculty, especially those people at the Central Business Administrator's Office, because your willingness to follow the policies and the internal controls, that makes our school district that much stronger in terms of financial sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move to the next agenda item, item 4, which is the approval of minutes. May I have a motion to accept agenda item 4A?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. And with that, we'll move to agenda item 5, which is a recognition of JFK and Saddle Rock.
Oh boy, are we pleased to have some for recognition. And to call upon them, I'd like to call upon our Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education, Ms. Hanratz, who will introduce the team and say some wonderful things about our elementary program.
There we go. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, community. This evening, we have the distinct honor of recognizing 2 staff on the elementary level, JFK Elementary and Saddle Rock Elementary, for achieving the recognition of becoming Apple Schools of Distinction. There is a fairly lengthy process that they went through to prove that they are worthy of this honor. They join the ranks of E.M. Baker School, who was our first elementary school to be given this honor about a year ago, I believe. With it comes some access to professional development that you'll hear more about from Dr. Lander, but really this is all about a team effort. The staff of both of these schools understand the importance that technology plays in our students' lives, but they also understand that it can't be everything that we do. And so it's very appropriately used. It's used in a way that helps enrich students' lives and prepares them for things that might come in their future, but not at the expense of the day-to-day, face-to-face communication that we know is critical for their development. And at this time, I would like to ask Mr. Giamondo, the principal of JFK Elementary, and Ms. Bradley, the principal of Saddle Rock Elementary, to come up and speak to the board and the public about this honor.
Thank you. And thank you, Diana, Ms. Hanratz, for always being so supportive of our initiatives. And we, Mrs. Bradley and I, would be remiss if we didn't say congratulations to Dr. Sweet and welcome back Kathy Murray. President Tuck, members of the board, Dr. Bossert, central office administrators, and honored guests from the John F. Kennedy School and the Saddlerock School. I'm Ron Giamondo, the principal of the John F. Kennedy School, and it is an honor to be here tonight with my colleague and friend, Mrs. Lucy Bradley, the principal of the Saddlerock School. We are pleased to announce that JFK and Saddlerock have been recognized as Apple Distinguished Schools. Our schools are being acknowledged for innovation, leadership, and educational excellence using technology. Schools apply and are selected for this distinction based on their commitment to continuous innovation in education and using Apple products to inspire, imagine, and impact teaching and learning. Apple Distinguished Schools are centers of leadership and educational excellence with a clear vision of how technology-rich environments support learning goals. In these schools, forward-thinking educators and their communities work to inspire, imagine, and impact teaching and learning. Schools all over the world are using iPads, Mac computers to transform learning. As teachers incorporate technology into their lessons, they empower students to lead, learn, and to make their world a better place. And now, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Mrs. Bradley, to share some of the ways this recognition comes to life in our schools.
Thank you, Ron. At Saddlerock and JFK, we are proud that this honor reflects not only our use of technology, but the creativity, collaboration, and care that define our schools. Across both buildings, we have a unified approach to digital citizenship and media literacy that begins in kindergarten and grows stronger each year. Students use iPads as creative tools to enhance and demonstrate learning in countless ways. Technology has become a bridge for collaboration and problem solving, empowering all students to build confidence and express ideas through visual and interactive learning. In the primary grades, our youngest learners build early foundations in number and letter recognition through interactive story-based learning. They engage in digital read-alouds and spark imagination and connect learning in their interests. They also are introduced to coding, applying logic, and problem-solving in meaningful contexts. In the upper grades, students deepen their thinking through robotics and engineering challenges. They design and program Lego robotics, test structures that withstand extreme weather, and use 3D printing to create real-world solutions that bring joy to our community. Technology at both Saddlerock and JFK fosters creativity, critical thinking, and compassion. Our students are not just using technology, they are shaping it to make a positive impact in the world around them. We thank our incredible teachers who bring these ideas to life every day. Our technology team, Ms. Lauren Rio, who's here today, Connor Riley, and at JFK, Laura Goldstein, for their partnership and expertise. We also extend a gratitude to Dr. Justin Lander, our Director of Technology, for his leadership and vision in Great Neck, and to Rob Zahn for producing the videos that supported our successful Apple submission. This recognition truly belongs to our entire community, our students, our teachers and staff and families who inspire innovation every day. Thank you all. Dr. Justin Lander.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Bradley, Mr. Giamondo, to the board, Dr. Bossert, for the opportunity to recognize some of our truly outstanding educators this evening. So in a second, I'm going to call a couple of people to join me at the podium. But before I do that, even though we only have the opportunity to specifically recognize a couple people who played a really significant role in this, this is really very much a district, building-wide distinction. So I just want to first thank all of the staff members at Kennedy, and at Saddle Rock for all their efforts and dedication in providing our students with a truly innovative educational experience. So at this time, could I please ask Laura Goldstein, Lauren Rio, Connor Riley, and Rob Zahn to join me? Thank you. Okay, so Laura Goldstein is the technology staff developer at Kennedy School, and she provides the school with outstanding leadership and support for their entire technology program. Laura was recently certified as an Apple teacher and as an Apple Learning coach. She taught a class through our in-service committee where teachers who took the class at the end, they were certified to then become Apple teachers. So she's really finding really great ways to leverage everything that the technology can do. And she frequently uses those skills to provide support and assistance, as well as helping to design innovative lessons and activities for everyone in the building. At Saddle Rock, the role of staff developer is split between Lauren Rio and Connor Riley. And together they bring a very creative and empathetic approach to technology innovation in their building. And they work tirelessly to ensure that every student and teacher has access to technology and that they understand how to use it in ways that support their teaching and their individual learning needs. And finally, we need to thank the director of GNPS TV, hiding behind me, Rob Zahn. So a large part of the application for this program is the creation of a 3-minute video that tells that building's technology story, which as we're brainstorming it, we have a list this long of things we want to show. And to boil that down into 3 minutes is very difficult, and it takes a very strong creative vision and a very strong creative mind. And that is what Mr. Zahn lent to us in the creation of these videos that I think ultimately played a very strong part in the success of our application. So just thank you to everybody that was involved. It's really a great achievement, and it reflects wonderfully on our district and on the buildings who are doing this great work. So thank you.
I don't think they want to hear from me. It's a sign. No, I will just add my thanks and appreciation to our two dynamic teams present tonight. But I also like to draw the board and community's attention to the fact that we now have 3 Apple Distinguished Elementary Schools, and I've been given very strong assurances by Dr. Lander that by the end of the school year, we will have 2 additional buildings to recognize with this distinction and have the entirety of our elementary program recognized for the wonderful advances in technology we've imparted to our students, faculty, and staff. So thank you all for your efforts, and congratulations once again.
And with that, I'd actually like to make a motion to amend the agenda so that we next do agenda item 8A, which relates to a donation we've received. So may I have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. So with that, I will move to what is now new agenda item 6, which is a donation in the establishment of the Teresa Prendergast Memorial Fund. The Board of Education and the administration would like to thank Dr. Scott and Mrs. Ariel Albin for their generous donation of $75,000, which will fund the newly established Teresa Prendergast Memorial Scholarship, which will award 1 senior from North High School and 1 senior from South High School a $1,500 scholarship. This award will be given to a senior who demonstrates excellence in school spirit with a passion to pursue a career in education, including those who have shown exceptional commitment to their school community through active participation in extracurricular activities, volunteer work, and leadership roles. And I would also like to acknowledge that Dr. Prendergast's family members who are in attendance tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. May I have a motion to accept agenda item 6?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second with pleasure.
Is there any discussion?
Thank you so much for the donation and the support.
And I would just like to mention to Teresa's family that this is such a wonderful way to recognize her. And we thank the Albin family, and we thank you and your mom.
And I'm not sure I can say it any better, so I'm going to say ditto. So with that, may I have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 4-0. And with that, we will move to what is now agenda item 7, the student delegate reports, where we'll welcome the South High School student delegates who will provide their monthly report.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Chen, and I'll be presenting the student delegate report for South High School. So we are thrilled to share some great news. Our senior research student, Noah An, has won the 2025 Association of Chinese American Physicians Outstanding Research Award. Noah competed recently with his current research project, which was described as exceptionally impressive. His hard work and dedication have paid off. Noah receives $500, and our school will also receive a matching $500. A huge congratulations to Noah on his impressive achievement. We must give a special shout out to our seniors bringing their A game to the first ever Halloween costume contest. The winners, Best Solo Award goes to Superman. Best Duo was captured by Shrek and Lord Farquaad. Minions and Gru was truly despicable, earning them the Best Large Group. Best Throwback, Marty McFly and Doc Brown. The Louvre Jewel Thieves won the Best Pop Culture Reference. The Angel won Most Creative. The funniest costumes went to The Trolls, and Three Blind Mice won Best Small Group. We are also absolutely thrilled and incredibly proud to announce that the 3 outstanding students, Julia Xu, Madeline Lennox, and Emma Ding, have been selected as semifinalists for the highly competitive Coca-Cola Scholarship.
Hello, my name is Dhruvi Kumar, and I'll be giving the student delegate report for South Middle School. The Health Department made valuable community connections by inviting guest speakers from Northwell Health to speak with 8th grade students about mental health and well-being. The presentation focused on stress reduction, coping skills, and how to seek support. In 7th grade, representatives from Cohen Children's Medical Center presented on safety and head injury prevention. With the sharp rise in head injuries in the local area due to e-bike accidents, students gained a better understanding of the importance of prevention and safe practices. Our 7th grade Team Hero recently hosted a wonderful celebration for our local veterans. Students interacted in small groups with veterans from the Iraq War, Vietnam War, Korean War, and even got to meet a World War II veteran who was 101 years old. We thank all our veterans for their service to our country. The World Language Department celebrated culture through learning about autumn holidays in our classes. Our Chinese classes celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival with in-class activities and traditional mooncakes, while our Spanish classes learned about Dia de los Muertos with hands-on activities in our library makerspace. 6th grade English classes on Team Endeavor read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and culminated their work with the trip to Sleepy Hollow, New York in October and brought the legend to life. After reading Washington Irving's classic short story in class, students explored the real-life setting that inspired the tale. They toured Irving's home, visited the Old Dutch church and bridge site mentioned in the story, and made connections between the text and the history of the Hudson Valley. Our special education department recently held a co-teaching professional development session, followed by classroom visitations and feedback opportunities. Teachers have been actively implementing the new co-teaching models in their classrooms, and the results have been very positive. The PD was well received and provided valuable strategies for collaboration and instructional improvement.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Zhang, and I'll be giving the report for North Middle School. 7th grade students are looking forward to their upcoming field trip to the Cold Spring Harbor DNA labs. While the trip is primarily focused on the science of DNA, there are strong social studies connections too. The DNA lab has a life-size model of Otzi, a mummified man from over 5,000 years ago, who is studied in 6th grade. Students will also spend time on their trip looking into the mystery of Anastasia and her royal family during the Russian Revolution, which is also part of 8th grade social studies. This field trip exemplifies North Middle's commitment to cross-curricular learning, connecting science and social studies through authentic, real-world experiences that help students see how different subjects interconnect, a key focus of our educational approach. North Middle's special education and general education teachers engaged in intensive co-teaching professional development, emphasizing collaborative planning and inclusive instructional strategies. Following the training, teachers participated in peer coaching cycles that fostered ongoing reflection and growth. Staff expressed increased confidence in their ability to create inclusive learning environments that support all students' academic success. On November 5th, North Middle School partnered with Northwell Mental and Behavioral Health Services for an educational evening with parents. Social worker Amy Callahan discussed stress and anxiety in adolescence, along with defiant and oppositional behaviors, providing valuable parenting strategies and information about available support services. Understanding and supporting our students' mental and behavioral health is essential to their growth as learners and individuals. We're grateful for this partnership that arms parents with knowledge on such important topics affecting our school community.
Hi, my name is Dahlia, and I'll be presenting for North High School. North High had a number of successful events over the past month. This is included, but not limited to, our Remembrance and Hope event, the 13th annual Best Pals Halloween Party, Halloween Fair, Community School Panel, Names Not Numbers premiere, and the annual Aid Our Troops Veterans Day ceremony, honoring Great Neck employee Ray Ocosio. Congratulations to Charlotte Narayoff on being recognized as a Coca-Cola Scholarship semi-finalist. This is an extraordinary achievement. The honor places them in a truly elite group, recognized nationally for their exceptional academic excellence, leadership, and service demonstrated in both school and community activities. Our performing arts program has been busy once again. Dr. No and her students recently performed at the Atria in Great Neck. Our junior players took to Middle Neck Road for a poster and ad campaign to promote Chicago. And of course, our music rehearsals have been in full swing. Don't forget to purchase your tickets to this year's musical of Chicago on November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Lastly, we are thrilled to share that 29 of our talented music students have been selected to participate in the 2026 All-County Music Festival. This achievement reflects their exceptional talent, dedication, and commitment to musical excellence. We extend our sincere congratulations to these students and our deep appreciation to all of the teachers who have contributed to their growth and success. Band students are taught by Mr. Rosario Fusciato, orchestra students by Dr. Esther No, and vocal students by Dr. Pamela Levy. Congratulations to our Nassau County playoff teams. This included our boys and girls volleyball, boys soccer, girls tennis, cross country, girls swimming, and our boys badminton teams. Go Blazers. Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Bossert for his superintendent's report.
I am actually going to ask Dr. Holtzman to join me at the podium so we can deliver our report from there. So Justin can't shut my microphone off. And I'd like to thank our South High representatives for giving a very thorough report of what has been taking place worthy of celebration throughout the district. We truly appreciate that. I'd like to thank Mr. DePaula for being here to support his students. Although I tried to give him a night off, he has not had many recently. He refused to allow the students to present without his support. So thank you, Tom, and we will shift to our superintendent's report. I'd like to thank the Board of Education for giving Dr. Holtzman and I an opportunity tonight not to give a presentation that we've shared across the state, but to talk about the presentation we gave. So it's a little bit of a different model because we've had the opportunity, Dr. Holtzman and I, to present the district's work in unity in several venues recently. On September 28th, we gave a presentation about all of the work that Great Neck Public Schools has done to focus on unity and bringing together the spirit of community to our district. And we made that same presentation at the New York State School Boards Association conference on October 24th. And we were lucky enough to make it again at the State Administrators of New York conference on October 28th, just a few days later, where we had the opportunity to present to our new regent, Felicia Thomas. At the School Boards Convention, I'd like to commend the three members of our board, Mrs. Chan, Mr. Chen, and Mrs. Sassooni, who was unable to be with us tonight. Unfortunately, she had a death in the family. But we thank our three members of the board who were able to attend the conference and really invest in your own professional development and also join in the celebration of what was a very well-attended forum. Dr. Holtzman and I were very pleased. There were a number of different offerings for school board members from across the state and district leaders to attend and select what they wanted to see. And we had a very full room for our review of Sharing Unity. So this is a message that's been heard within this forum many times, but throughout the state. So when people are thinking of Great Neck, they are thinking of the investment we've made into unity, and that is something I think is to be very proud of. This was actually the slide. So the title of our presentation was Building Unity Through Education, Anti-Hate Initiatives, and Community Partnerships. And it was wonderful to partner with Dan on this issue, as I know this is a passion of his. You know, Dan was recently given the Yavner Award by the State Education Department, which we know is not an annual award. It's given when there is an educator from the state who does such an investment in Holocaust education and related anti-hate work. They find an individual to adorn this award. It's not given every year. And we're very, very proud that Dan was given this distinction and has represented our school district in such an extraordinary way. So my portion of the presentation was to just talk about Great Neck, talk about the demographics of our shifting community, talk about, you know, as I've mentioned so many times, how the United Nations was once located here and our community still so strongly reflects that. And then we talked about that metaphor that I've used before, and I won't repeat again, about how sometimes that house on fire theory where we need to focus on a specific group because of specific challenges that are being raised. And that was really the impetus for a lot of the work that we did to combat anti-Semitism following the October 7th, 2023 attacks and a lot of what our students and staff have experienced since that horrible day. We talk about how it's important to set goals, how we need to make sure we're focused on this work. And we are so fortunate to have had the support of our Board of Education. When we talk about what we are celebrating in Great Neck and how we want people to perceive our district from the outside looking in, when we talk about what we want our students, and some of our finest are with us tonight, to leave us with, You know, it's not just the diploma we want them to carry with them. It's not just the credits that they were required to take for Regents designation. It's what is important to our community that they will help us to spread beyond their years in our classrooms. And we hope we're doing that in the area of unity and talking about values and talking about personal philosophies. And then that collaboration and partnership. One of the things that the board has given us ample opportunity to do is highlight the work we've done with different community groups, the HMTC and Stand With Us, and so many of the other, the ADL, and so many of the groups that have really lent themselves to partner in this time of extreme focus. And it starts with the board. And the board is well aware that the goals that they set for the year heavily influence the work that we do. And we were so proud to celebrate that our board set goals to focus on community unity and engagement. Yavner Award winner.
Thank you. So my focus as part of the presentation was really having the participants think about and reflect upon what challenges exist within the scope of their own school districts. Because all school districts have their own unique challenges. Some of them are similar, some of them we can share some similar experiences, but others have unique ones all to themselves. And the best way to really trying to address them is really doing that sort of needs assessment, trying to do some sort of inventory that involves faculty, staff, the community to really determine what are the major talking points. What are the things that we need to infuse within the scope and the fabric of our school community and our school culture that can help address some of these experiences. And we asked them to reflect a little bit about a situation that they had recently worked on that required a certain level of intervention to come to resolution. Did it come to the resolution they had hoped? Who was involved? What was the intended outcome? Did it meet that objective? So, in terms of us describing our experiences in our community, it was important that they had that same opportunity to share, and they did. They shared out with us as well about some experiences that they have had. It also presented an opportunity for us to share some of the connections and relationships that we have formed over the years. And there were some questions about how do we go about doing this? So who would you recommend that we reach out to? So some of the things that we talked about were the fact that some of these opportunities and events that we've created, both for staff and for students, were created from within. It's important to tap into the resources and the professional capital that exists within the school and the school district, and really kind of hit upon your go-to people that can really inspire others to get on board with things like Unity Day, and connecting with organizations like Names Not Numbers, the South Carolina University's Anne Frank Center, the HMTC, who have tremendous opportunities to collaborate with, creating our own Holocaust Remembrance Day, creating opportunities for the community to see the work that we've done, as we did a few years ago with the AIPI event. And then we also did Leaps and Bounds a year or so ago that really illustrated the work that we do on a K-12 level. Partnering with Mayor Rosen in Great Neck Plaza, and hosting that event that we had last year where we had a diverse panel of speakers talk about their experience and what it means to live in Great Neck from their vantage point and perspective. And then the opportunity to, again, create opportunities to connect with other leaders, both in the educational world, public education, private education, as far as colleges and universities, through podcasting, which I have started with my wife through the HMTC. Yes, thank you. And Dr. Bossert asked me to refresh the idea that this coming December, I've been invited to serve as an educational ambassador on a trip to Jerusalem with Bernie Fershpan, who's one of the board members of HMTC. It's a hope event. Music is the great unifier, and this event has Jewish, Muslim, and Christian students all playing together in this wonderful concert that's going to take place on December 22nd. But the lead up to that is the opportunity to sit with the students and really have a sort of a roundtable discussion about why they do what they do, why this is important, the significance and the impact they hope to make on this. And I've been asked to attend this wonderful program and this wonderful event as an educational ambassador. And so again, when we talk about what we're doing, it's not that we just talk about what we're doing, we actually are doing. And I've talked to colleagues when I was a high school principal, and I talk to colleagues now as an assistant superintendent. And I'm not one to toot horns. I tend to try to be a very humble person, but I will tell you that we do a lot. We think about this and we talk about this and we put things into action, I would argue, at a greater rate and pace than any of my other colleagues in any other schools. Yes, it's an area of focus for some. Yes, it's an area of conversation for some. But the amount of focus that we put on, the amount of involvement that we put ourselves in, the opportunities that are given to us, the opportunities that we take when given to us, I think far exceeds most that you would find. And I would challenge anyone to prove me wrong on that. We talked a little bit about the Brandeis University Summer Institute. I've actually sent out the application email to my Nassau assistant superintendent colleagues and encouraged them to participate in it as well. And we talked about the key takeaways. We talked about how hate is perpetuated, how social media plays a role in that, what the roles of teachers are in creating safe spaces and safe classrooms for students to share perspectives, providing opportunity and the proper instruction on becoming critical thinkers, being able to process information, learning and understanding fact and understanding bias when they see it, and understanding that this is a civic responsibility. We can't tell them how to think, we can't tell them how to behave, but we can certainly exert some influence on how they're developing and how they leave us. And that was really the ultimate goal, is to really just put plans in place, have consistency in programming, have consistency in messaging, branding your programs that you do for the betterment of your school and your school community. And that's all we can ask of our teachers, that we can ask of our community. It is a collaborative effort. It's not just incumbent upon the schools, but it's incumbent upon all communities and areas of the island and the country and the world to do this work. So I appreciate the time. Thank you. So we have a video that we showed. This will be the last piece that I'll show you. And I want to thank Rob Zahn for putting this together. It's snippets of programmatic events that have taken place over the last several years.
When we were at the police station, from the police station, they took us to, put us on trucks and took us to the Hamburg jail for all Friday.
Hearing knocks, loud knocks on the front door of our house, and Nazis barging in and throwing the contents of the drawers and the shelves and whatnot on the floor, breaking dishes, breaking crystal.
We were hungry, we were sick, but my parents said either we all make it or none of us make it. And we stayed as a family together, 5 of us, through the whole war.
It's so nice as a lighthouse district being at the forefront of acceptance and really talking about the true meaning of what it means to live in a diverse cultural community.
Such an exciting night. There's so many opportunities for people to learn and grow, and really that's what Great Neck is all about. I love to see all of the schools coming together, the community coming together, because our district is one giant community.
Tonight, just the display of what our students have provided and our staff really makes you appreciate the diversity of Great Neck and how lucky we are to be in a place where we can recognize the differences and celebrate them and understand that because of that, we are stronger.
This night is absolutely beautiful. It is just a representation of how Great Neck can come together and support one another. It really is just a beautiful night that shows that we really are one community.
Having had the opportunity to attend each of Mr. King's presentations, he certainly went to great lengths to differentiate his message and his language and his presentation from our elementary students to our middle school students to our high school students. Each of his presentations was unique in its content and delivery, and I thought he did a really good job in sharing messages that were powerful, but in a way that were very appropriate for the audiences that he was speaking to.
The historian Douglas Mallock captured it this way by saying, if you cannot be a pine on the top of the hill, just be a shrub in the valley. But be the best little shrub on the side of the road. Be a bush if you cannot be a tree. You cannot be the sun, just be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. You've just got to be the best of what you are. That's the challenge of all of us.
And with that, I would ask if the board or our ex officios have any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I was lucky enough to be in the room when you and Dr. Bossert made the presentation to a lot of representatives from all over the New York State, and certainly brought pride to me and to the board, to this district. So thank you for what you guys do.
I'm going to get you next.
Oh, no, I had another comment.
Oh, okay.
As a grateful participant in the Anne Frank community night, which took place this past March this year, you know, we were talking about community, and I absolutely loved your guys' presentation about community and unity, because that night I was able to experience firsthand how you know, this community can really come together. And at the end of the day, regardless of background, regardless of where someone comes from, ethnicity, you know, everyone really comes together when it matters most. And that night to be able to present about the Holocaust and Anne Frank's admirable story was truly a blessing. And to do it with 15 other students and to undergo a 2-day training, it truly was, you know, something that I'll never forget, because it created this unity that is like no other and is possible in our community when it's needed.
I would just like to say, school districts lead in many different ways. Students lead through achievement, as our South High School students demonstrated this evening in their report. Our board leads through leadership every single day, almost every single week. But what sometimes goes unnoticed is when administration is out there leading at the forefront. There's not a lot of spotlight that's put onto you when you're out there, but you are out there. And as my colleague Steve just said, it's a point of pride for all of us to see very capable and willing people pushing Great Neck to the forefront of New York State education. It is something that will inure to our benefit in many ways that we can't just appreciate, but it does come back to us in many, many ways. And I just want to thank you both, the rest of the team, for the ways in which you have been pushing yourselves out there and making Great Neck be that leadership district that we talk about. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I have to ask one of our ex officio members a leading question. On the list of different initiatives, one of the ones that we are really proud of was the Unity Day that took place at North High School. It was an idea born from the North High Shared Decision-Making Team. And I think that, and some of the board, you know, had the opportunity to bear witness to the firsthand accounts given by students and now members of the faculty, so that our initiative this year is to not make Unity Day exclusive to North High, but to make it a uniform secondary initiative. And Max, and thank you for giving me permission to put you on the spot, as a student who's now experienced Unity Day for the last 2 years at North High, did you have insight or takeaways from that event that would help us to reflect the importance of spreading it district-wide?
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for giving me a chance to speak. You know, when I walk into school each day, you know, I'm able to see quite a diverse body of students in Great Neck North. But, you know, regardless of the conversations that I may have with many of them and, you know, the conversations that may spark some unity and me being able to learn about their backgrounds and where they respectively come from, Unity Day is more than powerful to me. And as I've spoken about the event with my peers, I've been able to see how, not just for myself, but for many of my peers, it brings stories to light and it sheds light on what we need to view with importance. And, you know, you may be able to, it's taught me that I may be able to have conversations with as many students in Great Neck North and wherever I go, but ultimately some students have had, you know, quite the immigration stories or are battling in times of war or are making extensive and difficult and exhausting journeys to get where they are today. And, you know, to answer your question, Unity Day is inspiring. It's the word that I described that day, because to dedicate 1 to 2 days to just listen to my fellow peers, and, you know, many of who I may not have conversed with before, you know, to listen to their stories and to hear where they've come from and the burdens that they've had to face along their way to get where they are today, and to just be viewed as another student in Great Neck North, it really is so powerful and extraordinary, because you can't just tell someone's story by looking at them. Everyone has this invisible backpack that they're dealing with, and to really be able to see that through Unity Day, that's the day where it really comes to light. So I think that it's such an important day that we have, and definitely one that everyone should dedicate themselves to.
Max, thank you so much. So, Katie, my last question is for you. How do you have a sense that this concept of Unity Day will be received at South High?
So I just want to firstly ask, why isn't this at South High? Because this sounds like such a great opportunity. I think this would be really well received at Great Neck South High. And even while I was watching the video, I was thinking of South High's Cultural Heritage Night, which is a night where all of the cultures, all of the clubs at South High get to put on an amazing performance for a few hours, just dances and celebrations. And I think this is kind of similar but different from Unity Day, as we're seeing these cultures, but we don't really know their backgrounds. We don't know their personal stories or their invisible backpacks, as Max was talking about. And since Cultural Heritage Night, it's like the most celebrated night at Great Neck South High, I think our students will love Unity Day even more. And I think it would be really well received. Yeah.
Well, the good news, Katie, is we plan to bring it not only to South High, but to the middle schools as well. And we really are pleased to hear that you think it'll be so well received. As far as the Cultural Heritage Night, Mr. Chen, you're going to have to forgive me. I've told this story a few times. My very first Cultural Heritage Night, I was blown away with just the level of sophistication and just the spirit of community and unity that the students brought forward. And I happened to be seated next to Mr. Chen, and I said, this is amazing. We have students singing Hatikva, we have students doing the traditional lion dance, we have everything in between, and isn't this wonderful? And Mr. Chen said, it is wonderful. It'll be even more wonderful when it's students of Asian descent singing Hatikva and students identifying as Israeli doing the lion dance and that cultural exchange. A month later, we were at Lakeville Elementary for their cultural celebration, and that's exactly what we saw. And I think that's the melting pot we are as Great Neck, and I think that's the reason why that United Nations feel is just so strong within our school and our community. And I'm just so happy to hear, as representative of our student body, that our students have embraced this initiative. As administrators, as teachers, we can talk about whatever we want, blue in the face. If the students are not receiving and internalizing and prioritizing it, we're wasting our time. And it's really wonderful and fulfilling to hear you on behalf of the students talk about how you prioritize this work as well. So my thanks is to all of you. Thus concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
And with that, we will move to agenda items, I guess we're just going to call them 8B through E, which are other donations. So may I have a motion to accept agenda items 8B through 8E, which are donations?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to thank everybody for their generosity in this support of our schools and our students and our staff. Thank you.
And with that, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. We will move to agenda item 8F, which is the destruction of unused ballots from the May 2025 budget vote. May I have a motion to accept agenda item 8F?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. With that, we'll move to agenda item 8G, employee disciplinary charges. May I have a motion to approve agenda item 8G?
So moved.
May I have
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. Next, we'll move to agenda item 8H, student teachers and/or observers. May I have a motion to accept agenda item 8H, student teachers and/or observers?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. Then we'll move to agenda item 8I, which is the appointment of district-wide safety team. May I have a motion to accept agenda item 8I?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. Next, we'll move to agenda item 9, which is the consent agenda, items 9A through 12G. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. Yes.
As part of the consent agenda, the board made some significant accepted some significant personnel recommendations tonight. The first comes as no surprise, but it's a little heavy. The board has accepted the resignation for the purpose of retirement of Mr. Steve Goldberg, the principal of Village School. We'll be notifying the community tomorrow and posting his position shortly thereafter. Steve, if you're watching, we will have plenty of opportunity to celebrate your retirement over the next few months. But we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the extraordinary impact you've had on Village School and Great Neck Public Schools. Going to be a very, very tough act to follow at Village. When we think Village, we think Steve, and we congratulate you on this decision and look forward to many causes for celebration as the year progresses. Congratulations to Mr. Goldberg. And he will be formally recognized by the board in the spring. There were also 2 other significant personnel announcements made. The community is aware that at a prior meeting, the board had accepted the resignation of the principal of this building, Dr. Michael Grimaldi, who we wish well in his future initiatives. But that left a vacancy of principal. So we did some very careful deliberation and consideration about who the best and most talented person is. And we went to the person who we feel could really have a wonderful year for the students, faculty, and staff for Baker. And we know that because she's already done it for nearly a decade. So I'd like to congratulate Dr. Sweet Lazos on her appointment as interim principal of Baker and Community School tonight. Dr. Sweet, would you like to make some comments?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Good evening, President Tock, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Bossert, Central Administration, and community. I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity to serve as the interim principal of Ian Baker School. I feel truly fortunate to continue my work with such a dedicated staff and faculty in such a special and vibrant community. It is a privilege to collaborate with Ms. Kathy Murray. Her experience, insight, and compassion make her an exceptional colleague and thought partner. Together, we are committed to ensuring that Baker remains a place where every child is known, valued, and challenged. It is a genuine honor to be entrusted with this meaningful role, and I look forward to continuing to contribute to the success and joy that define Ian Baker. Thank you all so much.
Dr. Sweet, please stay at the podium for just a moment. Thank you. And as Dr. Sweet Lazos just referenced, she will have a very capable and extraordinary assistant to help her through the remainder of the school year. When having a vacancy for acting assistant principal, we wanted someone who could really come in with a good depth of experience, a wonderful body of work that resonates throughout Great Neck. And when we thought about who would be a wonderful person to partner with Heather and really join the team here, we didn't look far. We looked close by, and we were so fortunate to identify Ms. Kathleen Murray, the former principal of Parkville and assistant principal of JFK, who has a wonderful reputation and long-standing relationship with so many members of the Great Neck school community. Kathy, we know you weren't looking for work. But we are so grateful that you accepted it, and we so much look forward to everything you're going to be able to contribute to this building, this district, and this community for the remainder of the school year. And perhaps you have a few words you'd like to share. Thank you.
Thank you. President Tock, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Bossert and Central Administration, and community members. I want to begin by saying how grateful I am for this opportunity to return to the Great Neck Public Schools and to work alongside Dr. Sweet Lazos and the E.M. Baker community. Heather is an exceptional person. It has been such a pleasure to see her grow into her role as assistant principal and to see the respect she has earned from her colleagues, parents, students, and staff. I am now thrilled to work closely with her again as she takes on the position as interim principal. While I was here before as assistant principal of the John F. Kennedy School and later as principal of the Parkville School, I was genuinely so happy. I looked forward to coming to work every day. Those years were some of the most rewarding of my career. The level of professionalism, support, collaboration, warmth, and sense of community I experienced made a profound impact on both my professional and personal life. I haven't spoken in front of anybody in 4 years, excuse me. I'm excited to begin working closely with Dr. Sweet Lazos to continue building on everything that already makes E.M. Baker such an excellent learning environment for students, staff, and families. Returning to Great Neck and walking through the halls of the E.M. Baker School reminded me just how lucky our teachers, staff, students, and families are to be on the receiving end of the Great Neck Public Schools experience. Thank you again for welcoming me back so warmly. I really look forward to working with each of you once again. Thank you.
Congratulations to you both. I know E.M. Baker's very fortunate to have you, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your successes as the school year evolves. Congratulations again. And with that, we will move to open time. So at this time, if you have filled out a yellow card and handed it to our district clerk, we ask that you come to the podium when your name is called. Please state your name and address clearly. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Comments regarding individual personnel or students will not be entertained. So with that, we will call Judy Lyman.
Testing. I'm Judy Lyman. I live in Great Neck, New York. And President Tock and members of the Board of Education and Dr. Bossert, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I was listening to the presentation you gave earlier, Dr. Bossert and Dr. Holtzman, and I was heartened by the fact of Unity Day, that it's going to be uniformed between both sides of town. I do have a question about it in terms of who are the participants? Or is it all the students, some of the students who were chosen to participate in the Unity Day? I'd like to see all the students on both sides of town, but I'm curious what that answer is. The second thing is, there's a few things. I'd like to know how our school district is treating October 7th and how it's being taught in school in a curriculum way. And then I also like to know what map, given the fact that the NEA had this abhorrent map across the country, that it was disseminated. And there's nuances on how it was. Was it a link? Was it emailed? It doesn't matter. The mere fact that it was out there. And what is Great Neck doing? What map is being presented in our curriculum? I'd like to know that. And finally, frankly, this presentation was excellent tonight. I'd like to see our school system display their information in some kind of forum to show what we are doing, because I'm here tonight, but obviously I do represent quite a few people and my friends, but they're not here. But I'd like to get some of the stakeholders to come to a forum of some kind to actually talk about specificity in terms of curriculum. And it used to be that we didn't get into the weeds regarding that, but because of today's times, we should. But if you have the answer regarding the unity thing, I'd like to know that.
Well, the problem, Ms. Lyman, this is just not an interactive conversation, but we will make sure someone follows up with you.
Well, that's the thing. What I'd like to see, it used to be in the past, we would have interactive conversations. And I've done these forever. And my statement to you is, how am I going to find out, not necessarily me as an individual, but I'd like the entire community to know the positive stuff, and specifically this positive stuff, because there's a lot to be proud of. And I do want to know the answer to the unity. Do you know? Okay, it's good. I mean, it's a good thing.
As Mr. Tock stated, Ms. Lyman, open time is not intended to be a conversation, but to directly answer your question, we will ask all secondary students to participate in Unity Day. They will all be present. There will be multiple assemblies. We feel it's valuable enough to use class time to bring children to the buildings. And we ask for student volunteer speakers. And in the past 2 occasions at North High School, they represented all aspects of the student body. We heard from families newly immigrated to our country. We heard from students experiencing economic challenge, students with religious differences, students identifying as members of the LGBTQ community. It was a wonderful cross-section representing the student body. So we hope to be able to replicate that moving forward in each of our buildings. And last year we even had members of our faculty who wanted to participate and tell their first-person narratives. And as Max indicated earlier, it was just such a valuable day for all that we really truly wanted to be for all.
Thank you. And it was interesting that you said, and I know this isn't interactive, but the statement you said was asked. I personally think this should be a requirement. I think that everybody should participate on both sides of town, that this needs to be part of what everyone does.
I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. Every student will participate in Unity Day.
Thank you very much. And the other 2 items that I did mention, I'd like to get answers to, and I'm sure the community wants to know the answers to as well. Thank you.
And you'll receive a follow-up for sure.
And then how are you going, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do think that there should be some kind of forum, some kind of interactive back and forth regarding the two items regarding October 7th. Wait, I'm not done. October 7th and the map. What is the map that we are teaching?
15 seconds.
I'm done now.
Just as a point of clarification, though, Judy, we have had a forum. One of the snippets in the video actually came from a forum. Oh, there you go. You were in the video. Where our curriculum was put on display for the entire community.
I saw that. I participated. I think that was 2 years ago, though. Wasn't it 2 years ago? Yes. So now is 2 years later, and I think we need to present what is currently now. So that's what I think, and I would invite you, and I certainly, as a member of the board of the HMTC, and I've been asked to be on the advisory board of the JCRC, which is the umbrella group in Long Island of Jewish community organizations. I would and welcome you to partner with these two groups and other groups that you have outlined here tonight, which we have a nice collection.
Time's up. Thank you.
Wait, who said that? Wait, I need to just finish. And so I'm just doing an invitation now. And I'd like to welcome that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as a point of information to the Board of Education, there was a wonderful meeting that took place in the Office of Instruction last week. Dr. Holtzman and I sat with each of the professionals that were part of the Brandeis team, as well as the high school social studies chairpersons, and we met for 90 minutes with Bally Lerner, who is the executive director of the HMTC, and we talked a great deal about a lot of the curriculum work and some of the granular detail that Ms. Lyman was referring to, and in a wonderful exploration of ways to continue collaboration both with the HMTC and other community groups. I think it was time well spent. I think everyone left that meeting feeling very encouraged about the wonderful work that we're doing and the fact that we can rely upon the HMTC for continued collaboration and partnership.
Thank you, Dr. Bossert. And with that, we will move to agenda item 14, the board committee reports. The first is the safety team committee. Dr. Bossert, I think you have some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck. The board liaison to the safety committee is Ms. Sassouni, who is not able to be here with us tonight, so I'm delivering the report on both of our behalves. I'd like to thank our Director of Security, Mr. Bill Castoro, who continues to be the administrative chair to this committee, for doing just a wonderful job of making sure Great Neck Public Schools remains a lighthouse district as far as safety and security. We are the first district that we are aware of in New York State to be fully integrated with our RAVE application and our lockdown system. If there ever is an emergency within the building, any user, faculty, staff, or administration who's installed the RAVE app on their phone is able to call 911, identify the need for emergency services, or initiate a lockdown. And we are the first district to have that capability. So we celebrated that with our law enforcement partners that were there, and we think it's wonderful. We talked about some modifications to the district-wide safety plan that we're going to ask for the board to receive after a brief forum that will take place on December 10th. That's part of our statutory regulatory requirement in New York State, that there'll be a brief forum to review our safety plan with the community, and we'll ask the board to accept it. That's forthcoming on December 10th. We again got some updates from our partners in law enforcement who join us at these meetings, the Nassau County Department of Homeland Security, the Lake Success Police Department, and other emergency agencies. We thank them again for their continued partnership and support, and they were present for the meeting as well. There were some other comments relative to specifics regarding safety and security that I'm not going to share at a public meeting, but important for the safety committee to have discussed in private forum, and another successful meeting. And we will meet again in December.
And then I'll turn it over to Ms. Perez to talk about the curriculum committee meeting that was held on November 5th.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The the Board of Education Curriculum Committee is comprised of representatives from the Board of Education. Mrs. Chan and I are serving this year, and and then the cabinet is represented by Ken Bossert, Diana Hanratz, Dan Holtzman. SAGES has representation, GNTA, and UPTC. At our meeting on November 5th, we discussed the UPT's Instructional Advocacy Committees, which is meeting separately. Their curriculum committee will be meeting separately. In some ways, we may dovetail, but at this time, they are separate. And the curriculum committee reviewed results from a survey which garnered 726 total responses, which for Great Neck is a very significant number, with a majority from parents and guardians. 71% was from parents, and fairly even participation from participants representing middle and high school stakeholders. Based on the discussions that we had and the information that was given to us by the survey, there were so many topics that were of interest to the community. But in order to delve into each topic in detail and be able to come to some resolution or conclusion or suggestions to the board or to the cabinet, we chose the ones with the highest density on each grade level. So for 2026, we will be focusing on media literacy grades 6 through 12, study skills grades 6 through 12, and writing, which included many, many different parts. It included grammar and conventions, as well as text and what the children are expressing for grades pre-K through 5. All of will be recorded and publicized. The meetings are open to the public, and the dates will be disseminated as soon as possible. Future topics that people are interested in are STEM, SEL, financial literacy, and digital literacy for the students, which I thought was interesting. I said financial literacy, and yes, even starting with the little ones. So the dates of those next 3 meetings will be publicized as soon as they're finalized. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. And with that, we will move to board discussion. Any comments? I would just like to say, you saw in the video tonight, there are just many different events that go on in Great Neck. It's really one of the benefits of living here. There's just always something to be done or go to see at the schools, whether it's this weekend and the following weekend shows, which I'm looking forward to seeing, various sporting events. But in the last month, once again, the Names Not Numbers evening was just incredibly impactful. And I'd like to think that after 3 or 4 years of attending, you know, the edge would wear off, but it really doesn't. It's really just really just incredible to see these people, to listen to these people, to meet these people, to hear their stories. It's really incredible that our students get a chance to interact with them, to interview them, to record them, so that future generations will be able to hear from them. And Dr. Holton, I just want to thank you once again for bringing that program here, because speaking for myself, it's just been an incredible experience for me. So I can't imagine how it is for students, the student participants, the teachers, and the parents who get to attend as well. So I just wanted to make sure I said thank you very much. And with that, I would like to, before I make a motion to adjourn, I'd like to wish everyone a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. It's hard to believe we're there. Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn back into executive session to discuss personnel matter.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Have a nice evening, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.